Well, cool, guys. I figured I'd just make a video on just like everything I'm working on, just an overall life and business update. Not really here to just like only talk about the good, also talk about the bad, and just give an update. Because like, look, I mean, I could do the whole like talking head, just add value, help you, serve you, give you ideas and everything, and I can do that. But what really energizes me is just that documentation process and just showing like what I'm working on and exactly what I'm doing and like just like showing you, like what's going on in as much detail as I can without either like putting what I'm building at risk, or B, being boring. So, a couple weeks ago, you might remember I put up a video like my $1 million month plan. You can check it out if you want. And I've just been executing on that plan. Like that's basically it. It's not anything fancy. But to be honest, I'm gonna be completely honest and transparent with you guys. I am probably more excited about being a dad than I am the business by far. So what I'll do in this video is I'll do like a personal update first, and then I'll do like a business update, and then I'll do like a whatever else kind of an update, and just share. I'll do a fitness update too, because I'm gaining some size. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting bigger, stronger, leaner, getting that dad strength in, which is great. It's the best feeling ever. But yeah, it's early morning. I've been up since like 4:30. It's 7:30 right now, and we're just gonna do this. So I'll start with personal life update. Personal life update. So my kid came Christmas Eve, and man, I have a hard time getting into that place where I can just honestly say what I'm like as if I'm just talking to a friend. The camera kind of makes me put on this like image almost. But if I didn't have that like pressure of the camera staring at me, I'd definitely be crying right now because it has seriously been the most amazing thing that I've ever experienced by far. And fatherhood and being a dad and just being able to know my wife in such an intimate, beautiful way and see her strength, and just deepen my respect and gratitude that I have for her has been amazing. And I can go way deeper into that, and screw it, I will. I'm going to put timestamps beneath this video for the people that don't care about the personal stuff, but I actually think people really care because I think they really want to know. His name is James Michael Cockrum, obviously a boy. And he was born at 7:57 a.m., Christmas Eve, December 24th, Eastern Standard Time, with no complications, and it was a beautiful thing. And I was in the delivery room and coaching my wife through it. It was really meaningful. She said like the nurses would encourage me, our doula would encourage me, and really be there with me. But the only voice that really resonated and that I really trusted when I was told I could do this was your voice. And that was the most meaningful thing that I think anybody's ever told me, because the pain of childbirth is insane. And she did a natural birth as best as we could. She went into labor at 1 a.m. So she went into labor at 1 a.m. on the 23rd. So we had gotten like an hour of sleep, and her contractions began. Like even if you, let's say you train for marathons, this is what I've been telling everybody. Everybody who asks family, we just, in Christmas, I've seen a ton of family, and they ask, like, did you do a natural birth, your epidural? And I tell all of them, I'm like, look, just as if you were a marathon runner and you'd trained for a marathon and you'd run a marathon every week for years, you can't tell me that marathon runner couldn't run a marathon, could run a marathon if the night before, even though he'd trained for years, only got an hour of sleep. So there's that whole like crunchy mom, kind of like culture that my wife is kind of like, there's a whole comparison loophole for women right now. I think social media is like the worst thing that ever happened to women. Hot take. But anyway, because of that, she had this lot of like internal pressure to have a fully natural birth, which I actually somewhat agree with. You know what I mean? Like, let's be it as natural as possible. But it came up to like 2 a.m. on the 24th, Christmas Eve, and she'd been laboring now for 24 hours. like full on 24 hours of contractions, pain, labor, and it was 2 a.m. and she was so tired and so gone that I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but you would look at her, and maybe you've experienced this with somebody in your life at some point. You would look at her, and there's just nothing behind the eyes, right? Just nothing there. Like, she was not there. She was gone. She had been through so much pain, and she was so tired, and she literally, I would say something, and it wouldn't even register. I just think she was so, like, in her body. You know what I mean? Her conscious mind was just gone, right? And we got to the stage of labor where there's a lot of physical energy required from her body. Biologically, she needed physical energy. And when you're going through labor, you can't really eat. There's not like a lot of time to eat. We tried to get her to eat, but just like not a lot of time. So no sleep, not a lot of eating, as much water as we could get. But again, just not a lot of time to do it. And so she came to pushing, which is kind of when that's like the classic, like Hollywood, like, oh, push, push the baby out. And she just physically couldn't. She just, like, we hit like a total stall out point where she just couldn't get through that. And so I told the doctors, I'm like, we really just need to put her on epidural so she can get a nap. And she got that nap. She was out for about an hour, from about 2:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. I'm caffeinated out my teeth. I can't even, I look at the room, and the room is spinning. I'm so tired and caffeinated and just looped out. My parents and her mother, because the rest of her family was sick, were in the waiting room in the hospital. It's 3 a.m. I called them and I tell them, hey, she's going to take a nap, and after we're going to try and push. And then she took the nap. She's on epidural. She pushed. Baby came. I cut the cord. All of that. It was the most amazing thing I've ever done. Like, hands down, most amazing thing I've ever done. And cried my eyes out. Couldn't even stand to look at him. Just so happy that he's here. And just feel like the most lucky man on the planet, honestly. If you've never experienced that, you probably just don't get it, but hopefully you get to experience that, and it's with a woman that you love and respect and trust. And I have that, and I hope that every man has that, because I think that without that, the world is pretty cold as a man. The world doesn't have a lot to offer as a man. The only real other option is just hedonism and selfish indulgence. And truthfully, I don't know what a young man's supposed to do with money and financial success other than those things. But now I have a whole new reason. I have a whole new meaning. And it has me up at 4:30 a.m. hitting the gym harder than I've ever hit it, working harder than I've ever worked, and feeling just so full. My heart is just so full. I just have this unlimited energy that I've never experienced before. And I love holding James. I love kissing him. I love being with him. I love listening to him cry. I love every part of it. There's very few parts. I've been a little upset a couple times when he's woken me up from a deep sleep. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be all ooey gooey. Here shortly we'll be able to bottle feed, which will be nice, because then I can control him being quiet. Because right now only Lily can, because we're breastfeeding. So when he freaks out, only Lily can solve that. But now, soon, I can solve that too. So we'll be keeping some milk ready to go at any given time, which is great. That means I can work. I can feed him while I work. I have a little baby strap. Paul Daly, good friend of mine, Elon Gaji's ex-CEO now, is becoming a good friend, and he bought me this baby wrap, just like something I can put him on here with, which is just awesome. And so he's got a kid, and he's been helping me think through some of this, so it's just been a lot of fun. And that kind of maybe would act as a good segue into the business stuff, because James has officially been here for a week and 2 days, so it hasn't even been a week yet. But man, it's just been absolutely amazing. So we'll go into the kind of the business side of things then, because I could rant about the personal stuff, and there's so much there. Like Lily and I were just so in love, and just so excited for the future. I just genuinely feel like the luckiest man on the planet. Like, I've got this extremely profitable, fun business that makes me more money than I know what to do with. I've got this wife who just loves me so deeply and respects me and trusts my lead. And I've got a child who, when I look into his eyes and he looks into mine, I can just feel the love. And it, man, I'll be honest, I could die happy right now. Like, I'll be real. Just like, I could die happy. If I were hit by a truck tomorrow, obviously I'd be sad for the people that lost me, because my presence, I think, is needed by my wife, my child, and everything. But just for me personally, like, I feel like I've made it. You know what I mean? It feels like everything here forward is just like bonus round. You know what I mean? Like, you beat a video game, and then it's like you get like the bonus round. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like, it's that section of the map that's just filled with free coins and free points. You can just gather. That's what it feels like. It feels like 2024 is like my bonus round. And we're going into the bonus round. It's just like, we're just going to gather so much. It's going to be so fruitful. And it's just going to be so easy and fun. And, yeah, just awesome. I mean, I don't know what I did to earn God's favor, honestly. Because I've made so many mistakes. And I've done so many things so wrong. And I've wronged people, genuinely wronged people. And I've hurt people. And I've done things that I'm not proud of. I think maybe it's just a heart posture. I don't know. I could get into that. I think my walk with God has been better than it's ever been as well, because of these things. And, yeah. You know, I'm really understanding what faith means now. Because when you have a child relying on you, you can kind of psych yourself out, can't you? You know, your RAS, if you aren't familiar, your reticular activating system in your nervous system. This is the portion of your nervous system that is in charge of filtering what is relevant or irrelevant information. If our RAS didn't exist, we'd have a seizure when we open our eyes. There's just so much information around us, so many things happening. So, we have it programmed into us. It's designed into us to have this filter of what's important. And if I were just focused on, oh my gosh, I have to provide, oh my gosh, I have a kid, pressure, gotta figure, like, I would be there if I didn't have faith, right? And I was talking to one of my team members about this, actually, John Jennings, if you're watching this dude. He was just telling me, and he's a member of our sales team, absolutely awesome individual who wants to grow into a leadership position long-term with us, and I think he could do it. He's got a lot to prove still, but I think he will prove it. Anyway, he was just telling me about, like, kind of he just had like an off couple days. It's saying kind of got in his head and everything. I told him, dude, God rewards faith, not need or fear. So God rewards faith, not need or fear. There's zero pressure. God already set the scene. Just move. You just got to go. You just got to put the gas pedal down. For example, God can't balance our bike if we're riding it, pedaling, meaning centrifugal force, momentum, and the laws of physics that he created, if we're not pedaling. And every time we hop on that bike, we have faith in those laws, don't we? So if you have faith in the laws that govern us riding a bike, why don't we have faith in the laws that govern the success of our careers and businesses and enterprise? And I told him, with a kid and a wife relying on this, meaning the business that we're developing together, I have no choice but faith that it will play out. Truthfully, I have no choice. The only other choice than faith is death. Because if I lack faith, and if faith falls out of the equation, very soon after, fear enters. Because of what's at stake, right? So faith, I think, is one of the most powerful things that you can accept and develop and create. And I said I have full faith, and I literally have zero reason to feel or believe otherwise, that we'll reach these goals as a company. And he said, you're right, never thought about it like that. But, I think a lot of men, they don't feel ready for that. They see it as pressure. I see it as a necessary push for you to act in faith, because God will reward faith. He always has in my life. When I take those leaps of faith, he's always rewarded it. When I move boldly, he is always rewarded. I don't know anybody, actually, that has moved boldly, stepped out in faith, in full confidence that it will work out for them, that it hasn't worked out for them. I just don't have any stories of that. Because a failure is only a failure if it's your last failure, right? So, I mean, if you keep going, it's not a failure. And why would you stop going if you have faith? And I think that that's just an easy ultimate recipe for success, just to move and have faith, right? I'm going to go put a hat on. My hair is just wacky doodle. All right, I couldn't find a hat, but I did put this flannel on. For some reason, it makes me just feel more put together. So I'll kind of move into giving you guys a business update then. I just think that that'd be really cool. So, so that was a weird sound. Right now, we are booking, in terms of sales meetings for our sales team, approximately 10 to 20 meetings a day. Big range, but it does kind of range there. So you call it 15 a day. And we're booking those through both paid and organic means to attract customers. I don't want to do just paid or just organic. I want to do both. And I just believe in the power of doing both. And we have people who look at our ads that then like Google me, find my content, and are like, whoa, this is awesome. And people who, follow my organic stuff that then get hit with my ads, and that's what gets them to convert. So it's like, we do both, right? But truthfully, man, I mean, I can talk about the marketing, and people get so hung up on the marketing. They get hung up on like, how are you going to market? Like, what's the funnel? What's the marketing system? And I mean, it's really pretty simple, and I could go more in detail on that. The thing that I'm more excited about, though, to be honest, is just the leadership stuff and who's doing what within my company. Because that's the stuff that has like real 8 and multiple 8-figure leverage. Because, there's so many ways to market, right? There's like literally a billion, and everything works too. That's the funny thing. As long as you're willing to go through, and I listened to Jeff Bezos's interview with Lex Friedman, and the thing that really stood out in that interview was Jeff said this thing. He said, when you're hit with a new problem, you have to give yourself permission to wander for a while in order to solve it. Jeff calls himself an inventor. And I feel like I very much align with that identity of like just inventing, solving problems, creating new things. And it's really fun. When I was a kid, I tore apart my digital clock in my room just to see how it works. And then I rebuilt it, just to put it back together. And I remember I got like an Arduino board, for those nerds of you who know what that is. And I would program my own stuff. I've always loved building and inventing and testing. Back when I was addicted to Minecraft, I was a Minecraft modder. You can go to planetminecraft.com. You can probably find my profile. I literally made Minecraft mods, and I would rank them in that algorithm trying to get my mods the most downloaded. I made one where you could have bacon in the game, like a bacon mod. I made one where you have throwing knives. I've always just built stuff and innovated and created things, and that's just so innate. And so when Jeff Bezos said that, I was like, dude, that really stood out to me. But anyway, he just talks about this idea of when you're hit with a new problem, you have to give yourself permission to wander for a while. And I mean, that's really what I did. I just wandered around, tried a bunch of different marketing stuff, tried Instagram shout outs, tried TikTok ads, Facebook, YouTube ads, video sales letter funnel, low ticket funnel, tried doing some stuff with YouTube, Instagram creatively, organic stuff, just tried a bunch of different stuff, settled on, kind of what we're doing now, which is primarily just VSL funnel, Instagram, and YouTube. It's basically that stuff. And then I also fiddled around with going for complete beginners, to people who have never sold anything on the internet before, and we got great results with them, but they're just generally a harder lift. So I think for now we're going to scale people who kind of sort of know what they're doing, and kind of working with them. So anyway, wandered around for a while, kind of found some solutions, and that's kind of where I landed. So we're doing Facebook ads to a video sales letter funnel. We're doing ads to our Instagram page, and then I'm just doing YouTube organic, just what I'm doing right now, just talking, freaking whatever. I think people just overthink their strategy so much, you know what I mean? But that's what we're doing. It's it's not that complex. The stuff that really matters is the people. Who you put in place is so much more important than what your strategy is. And I've really seen this over and over again. I've literally never lost money on marketing, ever, on ads. I've spent well over, it's got to be at least $1 million by now, at least $1 million on advertising. And I have returned every single dollar by a minimum of at least $3.50. So turning $1 into $3.50 minimum. It's got to be at least that if I just were to calculate everything out. Sometimes I'm turning $1 into 10 or even 20. Sometimes I'm turning $1 into $1.50. So, that's just the average number. And the reason why everything continues to work is because I never, ever sacrifice the people end of things. Like a video sales letter funnel is just a way for you to get someone on the phone who you can diagnose, get to know, see if they're a good fit, and enroll with conviction. It's like it's the people end of things that people just miss in this industry, and they're so obsessed with the strategies, the funnels, the systems, that they don't think about the leadership, the influence, the people side of things, the emotional side of things, the human side of things that really creates leverage. I think you have to have this like blended mix of both a numbers-driven mindset as well as a people-driven mindset, and have kind of a contradicting worldviews at play at the same time. So very, very people-oriented, but at the same time, everybody's a number. It's like everybody's a number, but also very people-oriented. And being able to do both as the CEO and as the founder. But anyway, I can go deeper in our marketing stuff. If you guys want me to, I can like break it down. High level, we're spending about $2,500 a day on marketing, and then we've got an editing team, and then I just do YouTube, and that books us about 15 to 20 meetings a day, basically. We call our leads as they opt in. That's been fun, and it works pretty good. It works. But what matters more is again the people I have. So we've got right now 4 people on the sales team, and that will be growing. It's December 29th when I'm filming this. By the end of January, I would like it to be 6 people. And then by the end of Q2, we'll probably let go of some of the poorer performers. Kind of, keep the performance high, keep the standards very, very high for who we keep in the company. And probably, I think we'll set out like 6 or 7 really, really high quality performers. When we get to 6 or 7 high quality performers, we should be able to cash flow. We should be able to sell like at least bare minimum $350,000 a month. Like that should be like a bad month. And I'm talking new business. I'm not talking recurring payments. So recurring, we'll go further. But that's like how it's playing out, because one sales rep within my company should be able to sell at least $1 million a year. So like $70,000 to $90,000 a month, maybe $100,000 in a given month. To be honest, I think our sales team is good, not great. But that's just because, look, they're still learning, and we're still training, we're still working with them. But I do believe in them as individuals. I think that they could perform very, very well, and I think we picked amazing people. I really believe in just hiring for character and integrity, and just kind of who they show up as on the team meetings and everything, and just how they hold themselves, and just their background and their core relationships and all that stuff, like just the person, and then really training for the skill. Because if you hire for skill and then you build such a weird culture. So I've always just been a fan of developing people. We've had people come into my organization as sales reps who literally close 0 sales out of 17 calls, half of which were total layups, that then leave my organization and then go on to build a 7-figure business using their own selling skill that they learned here. So it's like, really, really cool. And I love developing people in that way. And so it's really neat to me to be able to do that. So that's kind of like how I hire. And I think when you're just getting started, you kind of got 2 options. You can either hire people who already have the skill, or hire people who really want to have the skill and are super, super motivated, and you train them. And the problem with people who have the skill is they're already kind of high demand, and there's a lot of competition, and like they've probably got 6 other job opportunities. And one of my buddies, I totally disagree with him on this, told me, dude, best of luck retaining your salespeople, man. People just hop around. That's just how the industry is, bro. And I'm like, what a like sad mindset, because it's like, do you really think that's the case, or do you think you just suck at developing people? Do you think you just have a terrible culture? I'm pretty sure he just has a terrible culture. Like, I don't know that he actually cares about his mission, vision, values. I think he just wrote them down just to write them down. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's what we're doing. So once we have the sales team ramped up to the point that we need to be, our current cost to acquire with the VSL funnel is $1,200. Cost to acquire with Instagram is about $200. But the problem is Instagram caps at about $100,000 to $150,000 a month. So I have an individual in my organization who actually is leading out Instagram. So everything you'll see over on Instagram, except for the stories, is him. So the content, everything is all him. He's an incredible individual, and he's running the ads, managing the page, and he's making sure we're setting at least 3 meetings a day over there, because they're super high quality meetings. They're always people that have followed for a while, really get it. They want to be a part of it. They appreciate who I am. They've seen the results. It's like really easy sales. So, I want to keep that because Instagram can be like a 70% profit vehicle for the company. So he's not leading the sales team. He's literally just, he's taking 10% of the profit of Instagram after ad cost. And we're pretty sure he's not going to count in closing costs. So like the meaning of like paying commission to our salespeople. So it's just total cash minus the ad cost and the editing cost, so like the editing team. So he's in charge of the editing team as well for our content. And then that's that. So that'll do at least $150,000 a month, I think, pretty easily over there. So there's that. With really just one closer. I mean, I've got buddies, with one closer, one setter, and one coach that are doing 120 grand a month. And I got them there. I coached them there, helped them get there. So I know that it's really doable, but it just doesn't scale to like 8 figures, So, yeah, but that's what we're doing. And of the 4 people on the team, they're all being led by a sales leader. So really to draw it out, you got me, you got a sales leader who hires, interviews, trains, and ramps up talented salespeople. And the reason I have him doing that, honestly, is just the season of life I'm in. I could totally do it, and I would really enjoy doing it, and I actually kind of like want to do it. But it's just like, I can't have it all roads lead back to me thing right now because just the stage of life I'm in. Like, I just had my kid, and I saw that coming like 4 months ago when I initially hired him. I was like, I really need somebody to do this. Had him come in and do that. And then, so you got, and his name's Ty. So you got Ty, you got the closers underneath him, the setters underneath him, and then you have Kaz, who runs Instagram, and he's going to have a setter underneath him, and we're going to do that. And then we have a head of client success. His name's Anthony, who calls our closed deals right as they enroll. He's going to be doing a bunch of one-on-one with our clients. He actually got his own leadership consulting business to $50,000 a month from scratch as a student. This was in 2021, so it's been a minute, but an OG for sure. Like, he's just an incredible guy, and he's actually worked with our community before. We just weren't really ready for him because the ideal situation for a success coach is that they get a percentage of your cash volume, and we were only doing like 150 grand a month, which sounds good, but you can't really retain amazing talent at that level. You really need to go further. So that's that. Like, a big part of why I want to get to 8 figures, to be honest, and why I even want to do this, is to be able to retain amazing people. My thought process is kind of this. Like, I could do one of two things. I could either like keep the super personal brand driven, like very organic, just a small cult following of people that'll buy my stuff for forever, kind of an audience, which I built, and it was really fun. And we did like 100 grand a month profit, like clockwork. And it was just a really fun, easy model. But the problem with that is you just create a lot of concentration risk on a small group of people. Like, if one of those people leaves, or they decide to compete with you, or if they, whatever, it's just the whole thing like breaks so quick. So I'm like, all right, I kind of have to like aim for like at least 10 million a year, because sorry, my camera just cut. Well, if I get there, I'll have individuals within my organization who can make literally $1 million a year working here. And then it's really easy to retain those people because it's like, why would you want to quit that? Like, it's so good. And so, yeah, that's the reason why I want to do it. It's just like more stability within the organization, and just being able to really offer talented people a really cool place to work that is really freaking good at what we do. So yeah, and then kind of another update about the business, like, in order to get to, I've seen a lot of companies that, that get to 20, 30, 50 million a year, they kind of have like mission, vision, value statements. You've probably heard this before. And a lot of people, when I say this, they have this relationship with mission, vision, values of it being this like overly corporate, super boring, super like, the leaders just say it, but they don't actually act it out. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to just write down mission, vision, values just to write them down. So I've kind of put off writing them down because it hasn't felt natural to me. Like, it doesn't feel like they're really true to me. But I've been working on those as well. And instead of saying what should they be, I'm just asking myself, what has it been already for me? Like, what has been my mission? What are my values? Like, instead of being like, what do I want them to be? What would be like sexy to say they are? I'm just being like, what are they? Like, what do I believe? And what sort of a culture is going to permeate downward from me. Because really what culture is it starts at the leader, and it kind of just like chunks down. And with every chunk down, every higher down, it just gets slightly less like potent. So the leader has to be extremely potent with the culture and embodying the values and everything. And as you can probably tell, I've been spending a lot of time studying and learning business operations, reading all the books, all the literature on all of that. I'm about to go through a good book called Organizational Physics. Super nerdy stuff, boring. But, hey ho, it probably will help me make a lot more money and go a lot further if I know how to do operations, which is so boring. But it is really, really, really important if you want to hire and retain good people when you as the founder lose the ability to have the time to meet with each individual team member, because that happens pretty quick. Like once you're above like 7 people, you can't meet with everybody, and people are just left on red on Slack. They feel like their ideas aren't being heard. They're just not sure that, like we're progressing towards their specific goals. So like one of my favorite questions to be asking people right now on my team is like, scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you right now that you can be reaching your commission goals as a byproduct of working here and everything? And why? Like if you say 10, I kind of won't believe you. Like you don't have to like brown nose me, just be honest. And when they're honest, they'll be like, yeah, I think it's like a 6 right now. I'm like, why is that? And they're like, well, the leads this week have just been kind of bad. So I'll look at the leads that have been assigned to them, look at what campaigns they came from or where they came from organic or whatever, and just make a change. And then next week, I'll ask them again, like scale of 1 to 10. And then maybe the change worked, maybe it didn't. So that's my favorite question to be asking. But anyway, our mission statement, and I'd love to hear what you guys think of this in the comments, is to radically improve the quality of human life as a whole, one person at a time, by connecting real experts with people in need of help in every area of life, by training them on timeless marketing and sales. I think that's pretty dope. I genuinely think that the world needs this industry, and it needs talented leaders and coaches to solve problems. I think that, we're kind of in the business of helping decentralize education a little bit. And I just think that it's really powerful, And so, that's what I think. And I think that that's just a cool mission. And I think that it can really guide a lot of what we do. So yeah, let me know what you think of that in the comments. But I think it's a cool mission. And then some of our values, I'm still writing some of them up, but like I'll pull up I have them written in Canva here. Some of our values that we're going to build the company off of. Student obsessed. So everything that we do is for the end consumer. Everything we do is for the end consumer. High say-do ratio. I got this one from Cole Gordon. His team uses this one. Our sales team leader came over here from Cole Gordon's company and was like, dude, you got to use this one. Which high say-do ratio means if you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. Like our word is contract. If you say you're going to hit your projections, you say you're going to fill out that tracking sheet, you say you're going to follow up with that prospect, you say you're going to get on a one-on-one with that client, you do it every time. So your word is absolute contract. Standards over goals is one of our core values. Like we don't believe in goals, we believe in standards. Like what we're willing to settle for, we're going to get. It's not a matter of what we'd like to have. It's a matter of what we're going to settle for. And so, just kind of writing these out, because what you start to realize is in order to control culture at scale, you have to be over communicating your values and rewarding based on them, and punishing and even firing based on them as well. If people aren't in tune with them, it's a problem. But if they are in tune with them, then there's a lot of room to grow, and you need to kind of be thinking of the next steps that each team member could take, say they were to perform in their role from a practical vantage point, but they also really embodied the values while they were doing it. If they do that, and if you have an individual who's doing that, they have to level up within your company. Otherwise, they're just going to kind of get burnt out. So that's kind of another thing I've been thinking about is like, what's the next step for each of my team members? And with few exceptions, I believe that every team member kind of knows what the future holds for them within this business. So part of my job is to just have a big enough vision that people can just like step into it and be a part of it and fight for it alongside me, and they can kind of see how their income grows with the business, primarily their income, but other things too, like their responsibility, their sense of excitement for the role that they've been assigned and everything like that. So, and yeah, that's like what I'm working on, and it's a ton of fun, and I've made a ton of mistakes this year. Like, God, I've made so many mistakes. Backslid for a couple months there and but again, it's like the Jeff Bezos, I don't know, his quote about when you have new problems, you have to give yourself permission to wander. And I wandered and I found some solutions, found some stuff that really, really, really clicks and works for me. And I mean, dude, I spent like 400 grand on ads, probably ish, something like that, just to like figure out a really working system, which is probably way more than I had to spend, but I'm ballsy. So it's like, whatever. It'd be a cool story to tell my kid. Hey, son, found out you were coming, wasn't planning on it. And yeah, immediately following that, I spent $400,000 on marketing to wander around and figure out a system that could change our family's trajectory. So you're welcome, bud. So that's kind of, I think about that stuff. I think about the future like that. So anyway, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm working on, and it's a ton of fun, and it's been super, super cool to watch it all kind of come together. And I'll keep documenting it, and I'll keep sharing like what I'm doing, what I'm working on, how it's all clicking and everything, just because I think it's cool. And I just don't have the margin or the space. Like if somebody wants to be the guy that flies out and documents and does that whole thing, I'm all for it. But I just don't really have the space right now to just be like making content, like just doing the content thing. I really just need like somebody who just twice a week shows up with a camera, dude, and knows me. Like I can't have somebody who shows up with a camera and treats me like another one of their clients. I want somebody who wants to be with me for a while. That would be awesome because I do want to document this, but I just don't have the time. Well, I probably have the time. I just don't have the mental space. Like I'm filming this YouTube video, but it's because I was up at 4:30 this morning. So I've had a ton of time this morning to just like process and think and whatever. But yeah, most of the time I don't have time for content. Even the clips that we're putting up on Instagram are literally like recordings of coaching calls with clients, which has been great because that means I don't have to like put aside time to make content. I can just coach, and then the content just like makes itself, which has just been awesome. And I might just keep doing that because, dude, like making content, like what am I going to talk about? How am I going to talk about it? What am I going to say? Is this even going to be worth my time? Is this video going to do well? Is it not going to do well? Like that whole thing is just, it's a whole grind, dude. So that's probably another thing that I'm kind of working on is how do I, like while working with how I work best and just really being in that flow state as much as possible, build a machine around me that makes high quality content that builds a strong audience and converts in the long term. Like, because I don't want to build my life around content. I want to build content around my life. You know what I mean? Like, I want to build a system that, like, I'm just by literally just being myself and hanging out and showing up and just enjoying the journey, I make money. You know what I mean? And yeah. So that's the deal. But yeah, I honestly, like, look, the Bible talks about how you don't want to, how would I say this? The Bible says it's foolish to pretend like you can see the future because the truth is you can't see the future. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. God changes plans all the time. And so whenever I say what I'm going to do, I almost feel this like disconnect in my heart. I'm like, I'm going to do that, but like, what if I say I'm going to do that and then I don't do it? What if I say I'm going to do that and then people see that I'm not doing it and then they judge me? What if I, like, you know what I mean? And it scares me because I'm very public and that has happened to me before where I'm like, by this time I'm going to be here and it doesn't happen. And the big elephant in the room is like, why didn't that happen? And I have no answer. I'm just like, honestly, it just didn't work. And that's a really frustrating place to be. And it's really taught me to be very cautious when you say how the future is going to go. However, in all caution and in all due respect to the reality that the universe tends to throw new things at you, assuming new things aren't thrown my way, assuming that my plan, as I see it, goes according to the plan, we should be at an 8-figure level here within a year or two, which would be awesome. And I think why it's awesome is for a couple reasons. For personal, and I'll start with the personal, even though it's not the main thing that excites me. Genuinely, the thing that really, really, really excites me is just building an awesome team that I can just kind of do life with. That's just something that really excites me. When you're doing $1 million a year, you can't really build that. You kind of can, but you can't really build that. You need to get like 10 or 20 million a year to really build like a team of people who think and breathe the same way, And I'm so excited about that. Like just the community, the camaraderie end of things. That really drives me. But beyond that, I want to invest into real estate. I'm thinking Airbnbs. I don't really know. I just want to I want to build cash flow so that my family is good no matter what happens in business, right? Because business is a great way to make a ton of money. It's also a great way to lose a ton of money. Okay, and anybody who tells you they've only made money is lying to your face. You will make money and you will lose money, and that's entrepreneurship. What matters is staying consistent and doing it no matter what season you're in. What matters is looking at where you are now and the metrics behind where you are now, just the objective numbers-driven metrics behind where you are now and where you'd like to be and what the metrics would look like if you were there, and then just closing the gap. That's how I define work. Work, how I define it, is looking at where you are now and where you want to be, clearly defining those two things, and then closing the gap with effort, with tweaks and changes and energy applied to the system. So anyway, my goal is to invest into real estate to build cash flow for my family. I want to cash flow. I mean, dude, ideally we cash flow like a really nice yearly income, like 300 to 500 grand a year would be just amazing. And just to know that we're just so good no matter what happens. And I think why that's important to me isn't even because I want to stop. I will always be building things. I will always be building businesses. I really do think that it's just wired into me. I freaking love business. It's so fun. I love everything about it. It's just an amazing adventure. And as a man, what do you have? I don't have to hunt for my food. I just freaking DoorDash, right? I don't have to, there's just not a lot. As a man, you need something. And business has been that thing for me. And it's taken that masculine side of me that really needs a fight to fight. And that nerd side of me that used to make Minecraft mods. And given them both a place to hang out, So I'm never going to stop, you know what I mean? But I will say that once I have that money invested in everything, what it's going to do, I think, is really just give me a true abundance mindset. Literally, I don't need to do anything kind of a thing. I really want to be at that place where I just don't need to do anything in order to be way more than okay. Not just okay, our bills are paid, but okay, we can travel and we can enjoy things and I can buy nice things and we can do whatever we want. And I don't have to extend much energy. I think real estate is going to always take energy. I'll probably have to put some leaders involved over there, actually build a whole separate company. It won't, I understand it's not true passive income, but you don't have to continually sell things as far as I see it. It's not quite as much of a offensive as this business. So my offensive play is this business. My defensive play, my stabilizing energy in my life is real estate. I'd really like to deploy a lot of the money from here, pop it into real estate, get some cash flow going, and then by the time I'm 30, have, God, I don't know, just enough that my wife and I, and however many kids we want to have, if we have 2, if we have 8, I don't know, it's God's plan, dude. We'll just see, but just to really know that we're good, and that's my goal, so that on top of that foundation of we're good, I can start new, companies, start new entities, business entities. And if they fail, the business entity goes bankrupt. But I still, in this other entity, have this asset of this cash flow that my family is on payroll from, right? And that would be the goal. So that way I can take big risks over here for the rest of my life. I want to do big stuff, but just to know that I'm good. You know what I mean? I think that's a really big driver for me. It's just security. But that's funny is if I spend too much time in the security headspace, I start to lose my offensive, right? And the offensive is where you really make the most money, especially in a business like this one. So I'm not really security driven very consciously most of the time, but a portion of the time I'm all right, we're doing well. 90% of the time I'm offensive, but that 10% of the time I'm how do I stabilize this? Will this last? Are there any loose leaks right now that I need to plug? And then I plug them, and then I get back to the offensive. So what I'll probably do is literally give real estate 3 allocated hours of my time a week. Put them on the calendar. This is when I do it. Because if I spend too much time in the defensive, I'm going to lose. And I know myself. I will get into this scarcity. Oh no, what if this? What if that? And it's just like, again, dude, like you attract what you focus on, right? And I don't want to focus on I just want to be okay. I just want to pay my bills and just screw off. Like, that's not good energy. You don't want that energy to permeate you. You want an offensive energy as much as you can. So I'm kind of just giving real estate like just enough energy for it to like be a done deal. And so I've kind of called around, and I've got some buddies who do a lot of real estate stuff, and I'm like, hey man, if I just provided the cash, could you manage the portfolio, kind of thing. So I'm looking for a relationship like that, somebody that can help with that, because I don't see us going I'd like to get to 10 million a year. I don't see us going any further than about 20 million a year. I just don't. I think we're really going to stabilize there. I could be totally wrong, but I just don't see that happening right now for a myriad of reasons. But primary one being, I just don't even know like what that looks like. 20 million makes some sense. 10 million makes total sense. Know what I got to do. 20 million, not quite as much sense. And then beyond that, I'm not sure that I'm the leader I need to be yet. And the benefit of that versus the deficit of what could happen if it doesn't work. It's like, look, like I think that the 10 to 20 range is like enough, to be honest. And maybe I don't think I'll ever sell, but maybe I could think about building it in like kind of restructuring in a way where it could sell at some point. I don't know though. So yeah, guys, this is it. This is the update. That's like what's going on. That's what I'm doing. Sorry if I seem a little tired. I just had a baby, so yeah. But doing it, today should be at least with what's on the calendar and what we have lined up to come in, automatic payments and everything. I think $15,000 a day should be pretty good. So yeah, we're doing well. It's happening, and I'm enjoying it, and it's a lot of fun. And again, I'm really just trying to build a business that is a competitive opportunity for talented people to step into. Like, that's how I've been processing this. And it's made it so easy because now I have a very competitive thing for a talented person to step into. Like if a talented salesperson who's been around or whatever wanted to make $200,000 a year, he totally could here. You know what I mean? And that's like dope. And I couldn't just do one. I could do like 10 of those if I wanted to, so anyway, that's all, folks. Looney Tunes outro. I'm looped up right now, man. I'm so tired. And I just want to say, as I wrap up, I really appreciate the love. We've had people send my wife and I gifts, which has just been super meaningful. I just had somebody DM me today tell me that he was praying for me. So he had a list of things he was praying for. Like, he was praying for his business to reach 7 figures. He was praying for certain family things for him. And then he told me that he was praying for Lily, my wife, James, my son, and myself. And I've gotten so much support like that. It's just kind of crazy. I just genuinely don't know. I can't trace back what I did right. Like, honestly, I think there is a lot of just genuine luck and blessing involved, but I just have so much support. And I genuinely feel like the luckiest guy on the planet, because it's just like, I just have so much support. Like most people, not most people, some people, they have to like trade off certain things. Like I haven't had to lose much. Like, and I don't see myself losing that much in order to get these things. The monetary stuff, the influence stuff, like the respect in my space, the relationship with my family. Like, it just is like, I don't know what I'm doing right, to be honest. And I really want to figure that out, because maybe it goes away. But it just feels like things are just lining up. And don't get me wrong, it's the byproduct of years upon years upon years of sacrifice. So maybe that's what I'm doing right. But even then, it just feels almost like so good. So I'm just going to keep letting it in. Keep letting it get better and better and better, and just not get in the way, and just really enjoy it. Because this next season is just going to be ridiculously cool, I think. So anyway, that's my update. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for the love and support. My wife and I, it just means the world to us. It means the world to me. The messages, the comments, the love, both within our client community of Consulting Blueprint and outside of it as well. It's just amazing. It's just seriously amazing how far your voice goes. Like, I don't have like millions of subscribers or anything. But even with a small sort of loyal group that I've sort of found me throughout the years now, their support has just been, I'm just realizing just how lucky that is, man. It's just insane. Like, if I lost everything and all I had was the support of all of these strangers, I could build an amazing life again. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's wild, and I'm just so appreciative. So thank you so much. And yeah, see you in the next video.